there, don't you?
Now we have to just see what's the forgotten film.
Oh, there it is. I see it. Oh god. As I smack my mic, everyone goes deaf.
Just smack it to the
Smack it. Just like to smack it around. Smack it. Yeah, there you go. Smack it. It's not still good.
Just a tiny, just a little.
Fuck you, microphone.
Just straight bitch slap it.
Yeah. That's how you should treat your good audio equipment.
Watch that little tap and be like, oh god,
Everybody's gonna hear that and be like, what is happening?
Well, you know. Little Wednesday thing.
normal stuff.
I think I want to have a fire tonight.
Do you have a meeting tonight?
Huh?
You have a meeting tonight?
I think it's pushed back.
Huh. You might have time to have a fight.
Just some people are not around. I have to dig through messages, but I think it got pushed back.
Schedule it.
Yes. Yeah, so, you know. So I think instead I'm gonna have a nice fire. Sit out by the fire, drink some beers. It's not gonna be like super cold tonight, but it's gonna be kind of chilly.
Yeah, that's gonna be like perfect hoodie, stout weather.
Hoodie, yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Hoodie, stout, fire.
I don't think I got any stouts. I know I got a Pilsner. I got a bunch of IPAs.
Another galaxy.
I might have gotten a Hefeweizen.
I
Can't remember. I definitely got a lager.
I have an
Maybe I'll have the
Imperial
lager.
Pilsner downstairs. It's like I've never seen a Pilsner that was like 8 point something. Like I think it was like 8.6% Pilsner. And
Oh
like,
wow.
From a local brewery of mine. I'm gonna do a review on that one. It's called Lit.
Yeah, Pilsners are usually on the lower end.
Yeah. So having an Imperial Pilsner like that,
You know they're
Fun.
out there, don't you?
I think I had one. That was actually really good. Like, it doesn't taste like an 8.6% Pilsners are such easy drinkers. It's like wolf down freaking 8.5% Pilsner, then you could try to like a couple of those would be like a good little spot.
I do like a good Pilsner though. There's a company called... They're called Six Point Brewery. They're out of Brooklyn. And they make a fantastic
You can
Pilsner.
get some stuff from KCBC, King County Brewers Collective.
Yeah,
Do it.
I'm gonna have to look for that one too.
Just look for crazy artwork on labels when it comes to like comic book theme. Well, not comic book, like that comic book style art.
Right? Yeah.
And then just a giant KCBC. And you'll see it. You can probably get some pipe. I'm surprised you haven't got any Pipeworks out by you. I know Pipeworks is like rooted in Illinois, but it's like pretty big on the East Coast too. With like the Ninja versus Unicorns.
It works. Ooh, I'll have to show you the one beer that I got earlier. It's like Space Quantum Kitten or something like that,
I
dude.
got one. I drank one probably a couple months ago called Hank the Dumpster Kitty.
Ooh.
It was
There's a beer from Roarbox, which is out here, and it's just called Space Kitty, and it's like a super hazy IPA, and it's so good. But it's like a 9. It's like a 9 or like a 9.5.
possibly. Sounds about right.
Yeah. I got those Unearthlies. Those are 9.5s. You're gonna really like that beer when you get it. I mean, it's nothing, crazy or
No, no.
anything. It's just a triple dry hop double IPA, but it's just so fucking good. Yeah. It's just so good. I love a good IPA.
Oh, would say maybe Tuesday or Wednesday
You know they're
next
out
week,
there,
I think.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta tell me what you think of that.
Because for coming up for the rest of the week, I got an IPA tomorrow and a CBD IPA tomorrow, so that's gonna be interesting.
Ooh. I've never had a CBD beer. I've heard a lot about them.
Yeah, it's the brewery near me has like their gummy line, and so they do like the gummy apocalypse and like they have one gummy that they put CBD into. Tomorrow, and then I think Friday I'm gonna do that stout. It's like peanut butter, like John Denver one. That John Denver stout.
Ooh, that sounds good. If you ever get the chance from Dewclaw, Sweet Baby Jesus. It's like a chocolate peanut butter porter. I think it's a porter.
6 o'clock, people. Let's do it.
Lies, it's 7 o'clock right now.
In the history of television,
Oh,
great
701.
men and women have brought us up-to-the-minute news as it happens.
Lies.
From
I
the
can't
moon
keep
landing
Central and
to the dangers of secondhand
straight.
smoke. Sometimes
I can't keep them
they even
straight,
make
man.
us
It's either East Coast or
The
left
one
Coast
thing
time.
that stays
Everybody
the
in
same,
the middle, you're on your
everyone
own.
wants to know what's in the news.
Next
From the
to you
Boss
guys,
News
an hour
Network,
behind,
your
and
host,
then next
Poonsauce
time.
McNasty, and to give the show some credibility,
You're in Arizona.
Logan
They're
Exhales.
just in
And now,
Hidden.
back
yeah,
to the
depending
studio.
on what time of year you're in Arizona.
Boom. Okay, hello. We're just rambling on here. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of What's in the News. And yeah, we got a bunch of stuff planned for you this evenings. But before we get into that, it wouldn't be a vape content show without talking about the vape buffets and the buffet potato head. I don't know. Potato head came in that, but it felt like a good
Buffets?
situation to add
We
in.
can do
but
buffets.
But first of all, what the hell are you vaping on, Logan? Let's get that going.
Okay, what am I vaping on? Well,
Okay.
always and forever until Anakin stops making coils. Got the Zlide on top of the little Aegis Mini. In that, I have some lemon berry and 10 milligram from Mr. Tom Lyford over at Mass Hole Vapors. Fantastic, Tom. Thank you so much for mixing that up special for me. Next up, still going strong with this. I got the heavy hitter on top. I've got the Turk V2 and some vanilla custard. I know you guys. Me, custards, desserts, it's usually not a thing. But I'm going really strong with this just because it's absolutely delicious. And by the way, Chris, it does go excellent with a cup of coffee.
Oh, I bet.
Excellent.
Oh, I bet.
Just in case he tunes in. Because I told him I would tell him how it was. Because I tested this out. I tried this out Sunday night on the come down. It's just, I just can't put it down, man. It's just good. It's just good. And last but not least, Titan V2 TM24 Pro with an Eclipse cap sitting on top of there with some Big Berry from Charlie's.
And big old berry.
Yeah, it's just my favorite Charlie's liquid. And Vape Shop kind of, they have a little discount case display. Right. And they had one bottle of Big Berry left, 3 milligram. I was like, give me that bottle. Give me that Big Berry.
Just give me.
Just give me it. But that's it. That's all I've got. That's what I'm vaping on this week, Corey. What do you got going on?
I got like 4 or 5 things going right now. But first off, the Mix GT4S, they kind of live together with Sammy Nitro.
Beautiful setup.
Single 28 gauge alien in there that's just rocking. And inside of there, I can't find this bottle because it's always so tiny around the big bottles around it. I got a little bit left of my Never Mind That Shit, Here Comes Mango from his like second version he was working on at one point for Mr. Sifu Mustache. And then let's see, I got the Mix Ether Bridge with a single Breeze Tones Mouth to Lung alien in there. Abyss.
The Abyss. It's just that good. You don't even know what it is.
Right. Delicious. And rocking some 4 Strokes the Blueberry Cheese Delight. I don't know if it's supposed to be like a Danish or a blueberry cheesecake. I'm getting like mostly cheesecake out of this, but it's absolutely
Well,
delicious.
Danishes have like the cream cheese in them
Yeah.
a lot, so you're kind of in that.
I'm getting
same
that
realm.
blueberry cream cheese thing going on.
Right.
It's wonderful. And then next I got, this is the new setup. Well, the mod's new because I just got it in for did a purchase for Mr. Brian, the Vaping Canadian. Got the Death Wish Nostromo.
Oh, the Nostromo.
Dual
Nice.
18650.
That's a DNA, right?
250C. And I finally was able to fix this tank because big shout out to Miss Steph Disco Potato if she ever tunes in. There was an O-ring on the top part that was just magically gone, and then like I tried to rebuild it a couple times, vape it, and it just totally poured liquid out of the airflow constantly. So decided to put another O-ring in there, and hasn't leaked one drop since.
Nice.
So tiny
that a DNA?
O-ring that need to be put in. What's up?
Is that a DNA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know whose coils are in here. They're rocking. They're just 0.1. I think they're frame staples, something like that. But I got some of that super good pear fizz in there, which I never thought with like pear, champagne, grapey, and then adding lime in there.
That's for me, dude.
But
That's just
holy
that sounds fantastic.
cow, is that freaking amazing.
Yeah.
So this is like one of my favorite setups going right now, just because the tank. I loved the Fatality M25 when it worked, when it didn't leak, and it's not leaking on me now, and I'm reliving my love affair for it, and it's awesome.
Nice. And that liquid sounds fantastic.
And then finally, my Death Wish Leviathan dual 21700 DNA 75C. No, DNA 250C. I'm all over the fucking place today. What the hell's going on? DNA 250C with some coil turd triple 28 aliens inside the trilogy, which I love this tank so much. And then in there, since you're on the testing grounds train, I'm going to be on it too, because I'm vaping on some of that strawberry custard, that SC from Mr. Overdrip from UC Testing Grounds. And it's, how much have I gone through the bottle already? I've been slamming this, but it's delicious. And yeah, then just random passion fruit disposable sitting over here whenever I want to drag on it. But that's pretty much it for me. So why don't we start getting into things a little bit? That we're going to touch on some. If you guys tuned in to Tuesday Road Newsday last week, they had a big discussion about this, but we're just going to slightly touch on it and kind of share our thoughts and just kind of reiterate what's going on with this thing that's going on. But FDA is working on to ban menthol cigarettes federally. So we all know that it's kind of a weird situation because they're still going to leave regular tobacco cigarettes out on the market, obviously. But there's a lot of arguments to where it's like this could be a race issue as well, which you could definitely see that because you look at trying to think of different ethnicities kind of when it comes to smoking cigarettes. A lot of like the black community and stuff work around, they smoke menthol cigarettes.
So when you break it down, this really affects a minority of a minority of a minority.
Right.
So when we break down the percentage of people, so adults in America that smoke, it's about 14% right now as it stands. About a third of adult smokers in this country smoke menthols. About 90% of people who smoke menthols are black or people of color, black or brown people as well. So when we're talking about who this ban is laser targeted to affect, we're talking about people of color.
Yeah, it's kind of sickening and just my mindset is it's like if you're gonna ban one thing, ban all of it situation where I would have liked to see. I mean, it's also gonna go into the situation where it's my body, my choice, where you should have the right to choose what you put in your body when it comes to drugs, tobacco, vaping, alcohol, you name it.
Yes, Andrew Garrity, absolutely classism. I was just breaking down percentages as to who this is going to, who this
100%,
affects for the most part. Does it affect for poor white people? Absolutely,
Yeah,
it does.
because-
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
if you look at
the vast majority of your smokers in this country, period, are low income people.
I'm trying to think,
across
is
the
there
board.
like a kind of like a chart to where it shows the prices when it comes to cigarettes between menthol and regular? I thought, like, I know specific brands had like the cheaper prices they could do, but and a lot of those kind of deviated to being menthol just because, I don't know. with like
Oh
the
yeah,
more...
I don't know about.
I'm curious if there's
prices,
actually a
'cause
chart
that
out there where
changes
it's
from
like if
state
there's a
to
change in
state,
price.
community to community. You know.
Yeah, because I know every state has their own kind of tax going on it, but yeah, it's a shitty thing that's happening right now. I know Greg Connolly posted a tweet that I think is absolutely fantastic. He posted this on the 29th, where it says it's too early to say the continuum of risk is dead and buried at FDA tobacco, but Mitch Zeller pretty much refused to talk about the need for alternatives in the context of proposing bans on combustible products used by 10 million plus American adults is not a great sign. So, yeah, this isn't good. This isn't good, and of course we have the Truth Initiative that is just eating this alive.
Yeah,
The
and
antis
he's
are just-
right. We have about 35, 36 million American adult smokers, and about a third of them smoke menthols.
And
And the
now
vast
you're
majority
pretty
of
much-
those people are people of color. So yeah,
It's-
it's laser targeted to affect. Banning menthol will do nothing for public health.
No.
That's the biggest issue here. There is no public health boon from people either switching over to regular cigarettes after you ban menthol, or people engaging in the illicit market and or attempting to make them themselves. There are a number of ways that people can go about that. You can you can go right on Amazon actually and buy a kit to pop those little menthol, the Camel Crush balls, those little like Listerine balls. There's a
beans.
kit you can buy right on Amazon to pop it into your filter.
Okay.
So people will work around this in
Right.
one way or another. And then from there, I mean, one of my biggest concerns is, FDA keeps saying, and Truth Initiative and Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids keep reiterating, this is just a ban on distribution, sale, manufacturing, that FDA doesn't have the authority to come and, crack down on people who are smoking menthol cigarettes. And they're right. FDA is not they're not an agency that enforces. They're not an enforcement agency.
Right.
ATF handles that kind of stuff. But what this will do is set a precedent about menthol cigarettes, and local governments, local police, state police, things like that will crack down on illicit sellers. So if you have a community, mainly people of color who use these products, when you ban them, a number of those people are just going to go to the illicit market. Now you have more law enforcement action against people of color. It's 2021. Did we not just go through all of this? Is racism not on the front page in the fronts of everyone's mind right now? We're trying to move forward in this country, but yet we're going to laser target people of color, a product that they use, make it illegal, and then we're gonna sick the cops on the ones that sell it.
And it's like, looking back at how 2020 was, I would say, from at least in my lifetime, 2020 was one of the worst years when it comes to race.
Yeah, it was bad, but there's a lot
profiling
of
and
good
kind of
that
stuff
can
going
come
on
out of
in regards to
2020
race in
if
this
we
country.
address it correctly. And this is not the right way to address it.
Yeah, it's pretty much like how you just said. It's like we're trying to go forward, and then one decision just kind of wipes away all of
Who's
that.
going to be the next Eric Garner?
Right?
Stop for selling Lucy's? Choked to death by police? Who's going to be the next Eric Garner?
Yep,
How many
it's
more
just-
Eric Garners do we need?
It's just,
I don't think we need any. No, I don't want to see any. But
Yeah.
that's what's going to be the result of this menthol ban, and it's sickening and it's wrong. Why keep banning things? Why not just promote safer alternatives? How hard is that? That's all I keep saying. Like, why prohibition doesn't work? It has never worked. It will never work. All it does is disproportionately affect low-income communities, people of color. It doesn't work. Why do we keep doing it? Instead, we could just promote safer alternatives.
You think these people would learn by their mistakes by
No.
now?
They don't get paid to do
You
that.
see the actions that have happened due to previous kind of situations like that, and we're like, oh, this isn't good. We shouldn't do this. And what do? They go right back around and do the exact same fucking thing. And it's frustrating. It's depressing, but we'll see what happens with this. Kind of, I know, because there's a lot of pushback. I know the tobacco company, the tobacco industry in general, is lobbying the hell out of this when it comes to being opposed of it.
I fucking hope so. I hope they are.
Yeah, and
I hope they're fighting this tooth and nail.
I'm hoping this kind of brings together like when it comes to just showing the government that communities can come together in so many different ways. I really hope the menthol smoker community comes together and says, like,
Yeah, absolutely. And
protest.
the ACLU is against this.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with this one.
And you're right, Angela Garrity. Rich white people do want to ban everything that does not fit their ideal narrative.
Oh, 100%. And if you want to learn a little bit more about this menthol cigarette ban, you can watch Tuesday Bro Newsday, which Nick Green and Miss Danielle Jones did last Tuesday. They broke it down. They kind of went a deep dive into it. But Vaping 360 also posted a really nice article. Big shout out to Mr. Jim McDonald, always and forever. I feel like we just need to put like a permanent bumper that says shout out Jim McDonald on the top.
For sure.
Or just like a scrolling thing going through. But there's another thing that we wanted to kind of touch on.
Really quick, before we leave that, I just want to say to any harm reduction advocates, to any vape advocates out there that are in support of this, prohibition is literally the opposite of harm reduction.
Right. Because you're creating more harm than good.
You will forever create more harm.
Mm-hmm.
You will disproportionately affect people and create more harm. Prohibition is the opposite of harm reduction.
Oh, 100%.
Please don't support this. Even though it's a feel-good thing on the outside, it's not.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my final thought. We can move forward.
Yeah, so moving on a little bit, I know the link to this article. We're going to talk about something, one of our least favorite people when it comes to state representatives, and unfortunately he comes from my lovely state, and sometimes I just want to my words, like the way I can describe this person is just not good. Not good.
This is what happens when you get into bed with Meredith Berkman.
I have nothing good to say about this.
Actually, that's not like a fact. Don't.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of pictures of them too, with real close, buddy, arms around each other. So
Raja Krishnamurthy is now back in the works on screwing up things even more, and this is coming directly from his krishnamurthy.house.gov press release, but we're going to kind of read over it a little bit if you want to follow along with us. They're trying to create a nicotine cap federally, and we've talked about how we feel about nicotine caps before, how it doesn't seem logical because you can't really make a nicotine cap because there's so many different situations when it comes to vaping, and it shows when they do caps like this that they don't understand the technology as well, because different amounts of nicotine is beneficial in different situations, in different scenarios of what you're using it in, and so on and so forth. So we're going to go through this thing because this was released on the 7th, which was, what was that? I know it was Friday. So this press release was done on Friday on Krishnamurthy's.gov website, but Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy reintroduces the ENDS Act to limit nicotine concentration in e-cigarettes and mitigate youth addiction.
Mitigate?
Is that what it says?
Is it mitigate? Oh,
yeah, mitigate. Wow. Okay, damn.
You're good.
So let's go through this. In the light of Congressman Krishnamurthy's recent success in pushing the Food and Drug Administration to ban the sale of menthol-flavored e-cigarettes, he is continuing his work to end the youth vaping epidemic today by reintroducing the ENDS Ending Nicotine Dependence from the Electronic Nicotine Delivery Systems Act. This bill would cap e-cigarette nicotine concentrations at 20 milligrams per milliliter, and the goal of this reform is to make e-cigarettes significantly less addictive and appealing to youth. Recent 2020 data shows that the youth heavy users of e-cigarettes, defined by high schoolers who reported using e-cigarettes in 20 or more of the past 30 days, increased by 5% points to reach the percentage of 39% of the e-cigarette high school users. This rise in addicted high schoolers necessitates e-cigarettes product reform. So, breaking that down, I think is that the data from the Youth Tobacco Survey, I believe?
Yeah, but it's always conflated, right?
Yeah.
It's always judged by
because the
use,
percentage of the
once
percentage
in
of
the
the
past
percentage.
30 days.
Yeah, so it's... Again, they're trying to show that... there's one sentence I want to read over again. where reform to make e-cigarettes significantly less addictive. They're already significantly less addictive than the regular cigarettes themselves.
Indeed they are.
I mean, when it comes to the whole... I think with this, they're kind of narrowing down, because when schools find stuff being caught, when they find high schoolers and all that stuff finding vape products that they have, mostly it's a Juul pod device where they're using
disposable, something like that.
Disposable, where it's 50 milligram, but it's Saltnik. And this shows that I really wish that they would correctly kind of research the difference between what teenagers are using when it comes to the type of nicotine used, and the type of nicotine we're using in situations like this, where adults that are legally able to do this when it comes to getting off cigarettes. And just because the difference between freebase and Saltnik has always been, the information's out there. And when it comes to how it's used and how it's kind of distributed throughout the body, the information's there, but they're just not kind of seeing the information. And then...
So when I think about this, the first thing I think about is how ineffective it is in the UK. This is kind of a replicant of the TPD 20 milligram cap, which doesn't work for a lot of people. It just doesn't work for a lot of people. It's not enough. If we look at the vast majority of people, adults in this country who have switched from smoking to a vapor product, the majority of them use those same devices. They use a Juul, a Vuse, they've used disposables. A lot of them use high milligram salt nicotine devices. Why? Because they work. They are the closest, when you talk about nicotine yield per puff, to a cigarette. That's why they work so well, and that's why the vast majority of adults in this country use them. So as far as like what youth use and what adults use, I think we're focusing on what hobbyists use and what a smaller number of adults use in this country, which is your 3 milligram, your 6, maybe your 12, a lot of freebase. But when we actually look at the vast majority of adults in this country that use an e-cigarette, they use high milligram, 5%, 50 milligram salt nicotine, the same stuff that we're trying to put a cap on.
Yeah.
So this does nothing for youth. This won't prevent. We're already seeing illicit products come over from overseas, seizures of these products already. This is full drug war that we're in right now. It's not going to prevent youth from accessing them, because the vast majority of youth that go to use these products and obtain them, they don't obtain them from a vape shop. They don't obtain them even from a convenience store. They either obtain them A, from friends and family, or B, through social media networks. Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram sales. I mean, it happens all the time. You know how many times I've gotten hit up in Twitter DMs about buying disposables or just drugs in general because of, you know, me being me and talking about drugs on Twitter? I get hit up all the time. Hey man, you want to buy some carts? Do you want to buy some pods? Do you want to buy some whatever it might be? So I mean, this is not going to prevent anything except for adults switching. That's the only thing this is going to prevent. It's going to impede people from switching, because if you have, say, a 2-3 pack a day smoker, a 20 milligram salt pod or even a 20 milligram freebase may not be enough for that person. And when it's not enough, they're either going to end up in this perpetual dual use where they're trying to switch but they can't get the nicotine that they need, or they're going to try it, not find it satisfying, and revert just right back to smoking. So this does nothing to prevent youth, period, across the board. The only thing this does is prevent legal access for adults who desperately need these products or who just want to switch. That's all this does, period.
Yeah, and it's like, you look at, when you're talking about social media aspects of how they get it, how many times you see an Instagram profile to where it's like, sell jewels, do not ID.
I get hit up all the time, man.
I
it's
see
ridiculous.
it all the time. And just the amount of, like, situations to where, like you said before, you get hit up the DMs showing that they sell pods and all that stuff. Like, it's ridiculous. The market is just getting, the illicit market behind it.
There's already plenty of counterfeit products. So whether this goes through and all this does is put a cap on the good sellers, the good players in the game who are trying to do things, you know, by the law, it puts a cap on them, what they're able to make, what they're able to produce for the consumers that want them. But this does nothing to stop what is already looking like a flood of illicit products coming into this country. And then we get into the illicit problems. We can go all the way down that rabbit hole, but there are far more problems in the illicit market. Product safety, age verification, the list goes on and on. So to Raja, this is dumb.
It's ridiculous, yeah. Because, like you said before, when I see somebody who's like a 3-pack-a-day smoker, I don't see them possibly being able to get off of...
Yeah, my first thought is, hey, man, go try a Juul. Go try a Vuse. Go to the gas station you buy your cigarettes at every morning and just try one. Give one a shot. The worst that's going to happen is it's not going to work for you. We can find something else. But give it a shot, because that's going to be the thing that's going to closest satisfy you. Get that high milligram, because people look at 50 milligram or they look at 5% and they think it's this big, huge number. But like you said, people don't understand the technology. When you have a small device that's running on like 7 watts, super tight airflow, very little power, you need that high milligram to compensate for that difference in vapor production. That's just how it works. It's really frustrating when I see nicotine caps, because they're just not based in science ever. It's just a moral thing. It's this 50 milligrams, you know what I mean? And it's like, there's more nicotine in here than a pack of cigarettes, and all of it's wrong. It's all just wrong. It's basic math that no one can seem to get right.
And seeing a product like
wrong.
this, and then comparing it to what I remember when it comes to the draw of a cigarette, this is the closest thing to it. Easily the closest thing to it.
Get closer to that like real tight cigarette MTL than just about any tank can do. There's a few of them out there that do a really, really great job, and they get really tight. But when it comes to overall form factor, when it comes to resting it between your fingers like a cigarette, when it comes to the airflow, the hit, the nicotine hit, it really is the new era, this like 4th generation e-cigarette that we're in right now.
Do you know how many times I sit here holding this and just going like that? Because that's what I used to do with my cigarette. I used to sit within my fingers.
That's the one thing that I have not been able to replicate in like my rituals of smoking is ashing.
Oh yeah, like just sitting here, just go like this every once in a while.
Yep.
You know how many times I do that and not realize it? The habit's still there.
There's all sorts of things you can replicate. You know, for
it's
me,
like I can't do it with this, because how you can't hold a mod like this, like you. Oh, see, see, you can't even press the button.
Yeah.
No.
Packing a pack of cigarettes. Do you remember that?
Oh fuck.
I do this with my bottles now. That's how I replicate that ritual. That's how I make that work. You know, there's all sorts of things that you can do when you switch over, because rituals for people who smoke are a big thing, and it's tough to replace those. But there's a lot of ways you can do it. Ashing is one that I haven't been able to figure out.
Oh, definitely, Angela. Moral panic is rooted in fear, not seeking to understand, learn, and grow.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. It's like we go over these things so many times where it's like something like this is introduced and then kind of goes away, and then it's reintroduced again, and we just kind of like we're beating a dead horse where it's like,
oh, they didn't get their way the first time? Probably because it was a bad idea.
Yeah.
Let's just try it again.
And let's see what their goal. They have a goal that they think this would.
Let's wait till we work up more parents and adults, and the panic continues. Once everybody's in a frenzy, then we'll reintroduce it, and then people will, think less critically because they're all worried.
So,
yeah.
I guess there's some similar nicotine regulations that have already been implemented in the UK, like you said before, and
20 milligrams a cap in the
it's
TPD.
What then?
The next thing we're going to see is 0 milligram only, and you will buy 10 ml bottles of nicotine shots on the side. That's a whole huge deterrent and a massive waste of product and a massive waste of cardboard and packaging, and you can get into
waste and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you can get into all sorts of problems that come with that as well. And it's just extra steps for people to improve their health.
Yeah, so
it's
specifically
barriers.
So here's another survey they did where it's like a 2020 survey found that 1 in 5 high school students had recently used e-cigarettes. Youths and young adults are unknowingly becoming addicted to nicotine through these products. As a 2018 Truth Initiative study, oh god, here we go, showed that nearly 2/3 of Juul users aged 15 to 21 were not aware that these products can always contain nicotine. What? What the hell do you think you're getting? That's the most asinine thing I can ever see, to where there's actually a study to where two-thirds of high schoolers or youth between the age of 15 and 21 are using something like this and not knowing there's nicotine in there. Then what the hell are you buying it for?
That's what they said about Juul. You know, that Juul didn't make it clear enough on their packaging that there was all this nicotine in it. If you look at a package of Juul pods, right up in the corner, there's a big thing that says 5% nicotine.
Here's the box of this thing. This is what my thing comes in. Look at that.
Huge warning.
Warning, and look on the back.
Yeah.
More warnings.
Yeah, it takes up like a quarter of the packaging. So it's just ridiculous to claim that people don't know. Well, how else are you supposed to know?
I mean, look how bottles of e-liquid are. Warning.
Yeah.
Massive warnings on bottles now. They made it law to where I think at least 20 to 30% of the bottle has to have that nicotine warning on there.
Contains nicotine. How else? What more of a... It's like, okay, if someone bought this and didn't realize there was nicotine in it, with all of those warnings, the percentages clearly listed all over the bottle, the problem is not the packaging or the product. The problem is our education system. That's the problem. Because we're not teaching people how to read before they put something in their body. That's the problem.
It's asinine. It's ridiculous.
Yes, Mowgli vapes. Medical particles.
So, and let's see what go on with this one. It says, the youth vaping epidemic has been fueled by new technology that allows manufacturers to increase the amount of additive nicotine. E-cigarettes today are significantly more addictive than e-cigarettes of the past years. Which, I guess, I could take away the more addictive, but you could tell the market's changed when it comes to back in the day. It kind of started with the systems like this, but it looked different. There was the cartomizer kind of thing where it was this...
You're talking about like old blues,
yeah,
and
old blue
Enjoys,
e-cig, the volcano e-cig kind of situation, and then it transferred to the open market, and then things happened to where this became popular again, and then we talk about how the vaping industry kind of goes always in full circle to where there's fads, to where things get popular and then things go away for a little bit, things get popular again, things go away. It's just
sure,
there's patterns.
When I think about salts and new age pods, though, all I think is innovation. Because again, this era, this generation of e-cigarettes we're in are the most effective e-cigarettes we've ever seen at getting people off of tobacco, getting people off of combustible tobacco.
So I want to know where they got this information right here. But the most popular e-cigarettes in the United States contain 59 milligrams of nicotine per milliliter. I thought Juuls were 50 milligrams.
So Juul is 5%, and even though a Juul pod is actually not a full mil, it's about 0.7. Juul pods are actually only somewhere in the realm of like 43 milligrams or something like that.
Okay. So, and that's like, not only that, but the Juul product delivers the nicotine up to 2.7 times faster than other e-cigarettes.
Good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Because you think about it, this product, specifically this product, this isn't meant for me, this isn't meant for Logan, this isn't meant for anybody in chat right now. This is meant for people who are smoking that want to try something different. This is the main use of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the most
that
similar...
product is personally, that product is meant for any adult who wants to use nicotine in a safer way than lighting tobacco on fire and inhaling it.
And so, further, according to the CDC, nicotine exposure prior to age 25 can harm the parts of the brain that control attention, learning, mood, and impulse control. Adolescent nicotine use may also increase one risk of future addiction to other drugs and use of traditional cigarettes. Where is that study? How did you... That's one study that kind of blows my mind.
There are studies that exist, but they conflate the two. It's not causation.
Showing that e-cigarettes are a gateway to cigarettes it makes me so angry. So angry.
Gateway theory, period, is it's a lot of common liability. It's a lot of people who, again, common liability. People who take risks are more likely to take risks. So if you're somebody who's decided, I'm going to take a risk, it's not much of a risk, and use an e-cigarette, and then the government starts creating all this propaganda and moral panic and starts banning all these things, there's probably a pretty good chance that you might just go, well, fuck this, I'm going to smoke. Like, it's not that e-cigarettes are a gateway to. It's a lot of confounding factors along the way and really, really, really bad policy.
100%. And let's see, with the 2020 survey finding that youth people who have ever used e-cigarettes had a seven times higher odds of using cigarettes 1 year later. This is probably from that same one where they're saying freaking vaping is a gateway to using other hard drugs and shit, and oh my god.
They tried that with cigarettes too, and that's because about 56%, 54%, something like that, in 2012 or 2014 was reported that percentage of people with substance use disorders also smoke. Mm-hmm. And so there we're looking at conflation, not causation.
Right. So let's pretty much, there's 3 pinpoints that they kind of specifically show that the ENDS Act would do, which they would ensure that e-cigarette e-liquid solutions of nicotine and other chemical compounds that are heated and inhaled by e-cigarette users would contain no more than 20 milligrams of nicotine per milliliter. Yeah, we know we don't agree with that one because we just talked about it. And allow the FDA to lower the cap on nicotine concentration in e-liquid to a minimally addictive or non-addictive level below 20 milligrams. So pretty much saying we're putting at least from my understanding, it would put the cap on no more than 20 milligrams, but then giving the FDA the power to even lower it, even less.
The FDA already has that power.
Yeah. And then final pinpoint is to encourage the FDA to successfully replicate international efforts to prevent youth from using e-cigarettes and to examine other ways to regulate and design and function of e-cigarettes to be less appealing to youth. Okay, if you're kind of wanting them to replicate efforts done from around the world, why are we not going into the full efforts of seeing how the UK does things?
Well, that's the thing. The UK has the 20 milligram limit, but what we look at is actually similar youth experimentation between the two countries. There's a massive population difference, like hundreds of millions of people different. Mm-hmm. But when we look at the rate of experimentation, when we look at that daily usage, the actual percentage is about the same. The UK just looks at it as youth experimentation, reasonably. We create moral panics.
Mm-hmm. Where it's like how you're saying UK, there are people like, okay, they're just trying to see what it's like. Experimentation is part of being a youth.
Sure.
And over here, like you just said.
Yeah. One white teenager in suburbia has a Juul, and we create entire organizations around it.
UK calls it experimentation. US calls it epidemic.
Yeah, we call it a satanic panic. We call it an epidemic.
So, I'm really curious if Raj is going to get any further with this one, to be honest. This isn't the first time he's reintroduced this, like it said in the article. He's reintroducing it. So yeah, obviously it got shut down or kind of put to the wayside before.
I think he tried this in 2019, 2018 or 2019 he tried this, and it went nowhere. So again, if you fail, try again. Wait for the panic to grow. Try some more. You would think when a bill is shot down that we would go, okay, that was a bad idea. Maybe let's try something else. No, we just keep reintroducing stuff until it passes.
Trying to figure out, maybe we'll just sneak it in here, sneak it in there.
Yeah.
Or who knows?
And if
maybe
all else fails, we'll put it in a budget.
Yeah, right? Maybe Raj will talk to somebody who'll be putting the next budget bill. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's like, let's put it in that section next to where the Pentagon has to release all their UFO information. In that little section right there. Sneak it in next to UFO sightings.
Yes.
But if this is one thing I've kind of learned from Raj and what he's tried to do, is obviously he's not educated in what he's trying to come out there. He's well into the section of anti-vaping. We know that by now. He's introduced so much legislation that shows how much he dislikes vaping, because I bet you he has some stake within the medical pharma industry or maybe tobacco in general. I bet you can find some blood money coming from there, easily.
Oh, sure.
So, I'm just waiting to see. I would love to see another article. I'm like, yep, Raj Krishnamurthy's Anzac got turned down again. That's one thing I want to see.
Amazing, and then it's like, when is it going to be back?
Yeah, it's like, we'll wait a year or two, and he'll be back trying to do the same exact thing. And
Yeah.
so we're gonna keep an eye on this. I know if anything comes up where it comes to like it hitting the floor situations, Kasab will have a call to action on this, and that. But if you're somebody that's in Illinois, and you're well known on how Raj does things, get a hold of his office.
Sure.
Smash his phones with your voice and kind of just show that.
I mean, literally anybody anywhere in this country right now
Right.
should be getting all the Raja.
Yeah, because this is a federal thing, to where it's not. It wouldn't be only in the state of Illinois. This is a.
I mean, if
full-
you're tight with him and you're in Illinois and you know him.
Oh,
and
if
you
I was
call
tight
his
with
office
them,
all
if I was tight with
please
them,
do.
then
But yeah, this is a nationwide thing. Everyone.
if I was tight with him, I'd probably be egging his house every other day, to be honest.
You wouldn't be tight with him for long.
Yeah. It's just so moving on, like how the title of this episode says, to where we talked about the bad news, but let's start getting to some good stuff, because there's about a couple things when it comes to legislation that's come out in the past few days that is actually good. They're kind of the same thing when it comes to what they're doing, but it's still good to talk about, because these are two states that at least one of the states, we know that their governor is more on the side of kind of just not being so like, let's jump the gun situation, to where we're going to talk about Mr. Ron DeSantis out of Florida, and then we're going to talk about something that happened in Montana. So let's start with the Montana thing. And so Jim McDonald came out with another great article back on the 28th. So I'm going to throw that in chat for you guys right now for someone to share around that show that positive news does happen.
Thanks, Jim.
Of course. But Montana legislator approves bill to block local flavor bans, which means that all these small kind of little counties and all that stuff can't put their own flavor bans in, to where if there's a flavor ban done within that state, it has to be done on the statewide level.
Yeah.
Which is great, because when it comes to small municipalities kind of trying to ban vaping in their own right, it's just, we've talked about it before, it's not going to work, because the amount of enforcement that is needed to kind of make sure this thing kind of stays in, they don't offer it. They don't.
Yeah, if you ban it locally, most people are just going to drive to the next county.
Mhm.
So any kind of local taxes or anything like that, local money, governments miss out on.
It's just a bad
one of the
situation.
big thing that groups like Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids really like to do is go around and win these smaller local battles within a state. So you end up with this patchwork of where it's legal, where it's not, who, this, that, and the other thing, and it gets really messy. It's kind of like cannabis legalization in the country right now. It's all over the place. It's legal here, it's not legal here. It's legal, creates a patchwork of chaos and problems. And then after groups like Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids do this, and they create all this chaos and this mix-match patchwork of regulations, then they go to the state and they go, again, after they've created this, they go, look at this mess. Look at this regulation that's all over the place, and it's just not working. What we need is a statewide ban. And then state legislators go, oh, yeah, no, I think you're right. Look at this mess. And that's the issue. And it's actually been a pretty good tactic of theirs so far. So when we shut this down, and we're talking about preemption laws here, when we shut this down and we say, no, state governments are better equipped, they have more access to resources, they have more boots on the ground, more people there to figure these things out, especially when it comes to tobacco and drug policies, which are massive public health policies. These decisions should not be left up to small local city councils and small governments. Now, that's not to say that local governments aren't very effective at a lot of things, especially things regarding their communities specifically. But when we're talking about something like drug policy and tobacco control, these are not things that should be left up to small 4-5-man city councils.
Needs a lot
They
more
just shouldn't be.
manpower.
They don't
for
have access
enforcement.
to the resources. They're easily influenced. They're easily manipulated. They need to be left up to the state.
I know, if you think about a small kind of municipality doing this, where it could be one family saying, my kid's in the hospital from vaping,
Sure.
and they instantly bills
On a
or
local
some-
level, yeah. And local stuff happens all the time. If you're not really, really engaged in your local government stuff that's going on, you might have a hearing in a city council and one person shows up, and that one person, maybe just a local person, or, again, Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, PAVE, they could just send somebody to this local town, and that's the only person that shows up that's in full favor of doing this. And that's all they hear. That's all the city council hears. Well, this must not be very important to people in our area because nobody showed up. Well, it's because you scheduled it for a Tuesday at 1:30 in the afternoon first. But it's just a mess and it's not good. So I absolutely applaud Ron DeSantis, who I don't applaud on a lot of things, but when it comes to vapor regulation, I do applaud him. And then also, who's the governor in?
Greg, I don't even how do you even say that? Grant Forte?
Okay.
Guy Forte?
Well, I applaud
Greg
Greg
Guy Forte
as
maybe.
well.
So hopefully we start seeing with like Montana doing this to where we see states like Tennessee, South Carolina, Idaho, and Arizona and all that kind of start doing the same thing. Because that would be a lovely thing to see, to where it would kind of take Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids like agenda on how they kind of get things going in the state level.
Rip the wind right out of their sails.
And be like, what do we do? And that's what I would love. Leave them with their backs against the wall and really have them at a situation to where their only kind of availability to fight is at the federal level.
Don't worry, they'll find another way to spend that $160 million from Bloomberg.
Yeah. It's just... So, like, that's a good thing in Montana, and then how Logan was saying, Mr. Ron DeSantis, Florida has just done the same thing when it comes to... They made the age purchase to 21 and older, obviously in that state, which it's already federal. So, just like, that kind of thing is just asinine.
There's reasons for it, getting it on a bulk on a state level. There are reasons for it, but yeah. Is it necessary? No. Does it make a lot of things easier for them? Yes.
So where having the second state do that is also really, really good. It's just, luckily, hopefully it's not like great news when it comes to things, but it kind of gives us a situation to where we can know, like, say, if any legislation comes up in Montana or Florida again, that we know that it's only going to need to be fought at the statewide level and not small counties, municipalities, you name it. Because that's an easier kind of fight to fight instead of 20 small towns.
Sure, and just to paint the picture for people, in the United States, there are over 39,000 local governments. That's a big front if we want to keep playing it on city councils and county laws and things like that. Or there are 50 states. That's a much smaller battleground. That's a much
100%.
easier fight.
So to me, that's something that there's some good to come out of what's going on right now. I know there's a bunch of bullshit coming with the menthol ban when it comes to cigarettes, and then Raj Krishnamurthy wanting to introduce a freaking nicotine cap federally. But when it comes to some small stuff that you can kind of take as a win, even though it's not a full, like, anything happened in favor totally of us, it's still legislation that could go in our favor in the end.
Yeah, it has the potential to. I do want to just I guess balance the equation. It doesn't mean that a state still can't turn around and ban something statewide, or put in caps, or put in place bans, or things like that. But again, we would much rather fight this on the state level and deal with a state that has the resources to be well informed, as opposed to just a whole bunch of small local municipalities.
100%.
So yeah.
And we're getting towards the end here, but there's a few things that we like to do towards the end of the show that kind of end things on a lighter note, kind of remind you people about stuff going on. So, always want to reiterate, CASA.org. Get over there, bookmark it. If you're not, there's only one page you need to bookmark when it comes to keeping track of things. just go on the state level, go to CASA.org, go to the Get Involved section, go to state and local, and bookmark that, because it lets you know anything. There's a map right there that gives you the option to click on your state, and any bill that's going on in your state that CASA knows about will be listed down right below that. So I'm posting the link to that Get Involved section when it comes to the states. But let's talk about some things that may have been introduced in the past since we've had the last What's in the News. So we got one that, let's see, when was our last show? I just want to make sure. So yeah, we didn't talk about this one. So Minnesota, we got another one that was introduced, posted on CASA May 3rd, where it's keep vapor taxes out of the budget. So vapor taxes are being included in the state's omnibus budget, and the proposal is to expand the existing tax by imposing a 95% wholesale tax on devices. Currently, the state only taxes on the nicotine-containing e-liquids. So now this would create another tax on devices itself. So which, if you think about it...
There's actually data. There was a study done on Minnesota's 95% nicotine tax. And it deterred, which when we think about it being just on the nicotine in e-liquid, it's actually a relatively small tax because it's just on the nicotine in the e-liquid. But that small tax still deterred about 32,000 people from switching. So now when someone walks, if this were to pass, this 95% tax on devices or hardware in general, that I believe this affects coils, this affects tanks, this affects every, if it's not the liquid you put in it, it affects it. So now someone goes into a vape shop and a $40 starter kit, which for a lot of people, again, reminder, most people who smoke are low income. $40 is a hefty thing to say, yes, I'm going to try this. I'm going to invest my money in this to try and quit smoking with this. Now that $40 starter kit is now about $80.
Right.
It basically doubles it.
Insane.
So yeah, that's a massive tax.
So if you're in the state of Minnesota, it's just the bill was introduced and it really hasn't gone through the House or the Senate yet. So keep an eye out for that one. Bookmark that one, and CASA will have updates for you on that as well. But let's see. Idaho. We got one in Idaho that was posted on. Wait, is this? So this one. Wait, hold on a second.
Idaho, Corey. Idaho? Idaho.
Oh no, I was behind. Okay, so then we still got. We got Alaska, which another tax, which is on HB 110, which would enact a 75% wholesale tax on e-liquids and devices, and pretty much e-liquids, devices, and compounds. So I'm guessing components. So cotton, coils, you name it. So a 75% wholesale tax. And
who pays that tax?
You do.
At the end of the day, consumers do. Whether it's wholesale, whether it's a floor tax, whatever it may be. A shop, distributor, whoever it is, the seller, is going to raise their prices to make up for that loss. That tax triples down to consumers. All taxes triple down to consumers. That's where it ends up.
There's a public hearing update on this bill as well, so where the original hearing was supposed to be held May 7th on HB 110, and this bill was set aside for consideration on future hearing. So they want to do more hearings about this. So people in Alaska should be taking advantage of this, to where it's like they wanted to think about this and go over this further. Put yourself in a situation, go out to the hearings, or make yourself available for the hearing, to where you can tell them your story and tell them why this is a bad situation, to where, like how we say before, people who smoked, a lot of low income, and now you're just raising the prices and all that stuff, and now all these people are going to be stuck going back to cigarettes because they can't afford the alternative. So keep an eye on that one in Alaska.
One of the best appeals about switching for a lot of people is, yes, there's an upfront cost, but after that, one of the biggest key points for people switching is price. People who smoke are very price sensitive. People who vape are very price sensitive. And then you're like, okay, well, yeah, there's an upfront cost, but once you get past that, a 60 ml bottle of e-liquid is going to last you a while. Coil heads are fairly affordable. Like, you're going to end up saving money in the long run. That's always been a great talking point for switching. Things like this nullify that talking point, and they deter people from going, okay, well, if it's a big upfront cost, I can do that, but then I'm going to save money in the long run and improve my health. I'm going to switch. But now when you go, hey, there's a big upfront cost, and then it's also going to cost you just as much, people aren't necessarily always, health forward thinking. They need that extra price, incentive to switch. I mean, if you're already health forward thinking, I don't know if you're smoking. Right. So again, that price is a big deal for people switching. These taxes just deter that.
Yep, we got one that was introduced on May 8th for a flavor ban in Maine, to where there is Bill LD 1550 would ban the sale of vapor and tobacco products in flavors other than tobacco. This includes mint, menthol, and wintergreen. This bill received a public hearing on Friday, May 7th, in the Joint Committee of Health and Human Services. According to the local news coverage, the hearing lasted 6 hours, and LD 1550 now moves to a committee work session on May 12th, so today, where it will be decided whether or not to move the bill to the full House for a vote. So within the next few days or so, we're going to find out what happened with that hearing today, and hopefully they're going to kind of look into it. We probably have either CASA members or local groups within that state probably down at that hearing, or that were involved in that hearing as well. So hopefully we see some good coverage on that and some good things come out of that. But just keep an eye on that one as well, because that's another statewide ban. And the East Coast is just on the roll when it comes to banning vape products. I mean, you got is New Jersey now banned? I think
for flavors.
Yeah. So New Jersey's banned, New York's banned, Massachusetts
New York,
banned.
Massachusetts, Jersey,
and I know they're
Rhode Island,
and now Maine. So pretty much the entire East Coast is getting to the point to where we're just gonna ban vape products. So keep an eye on that one if you're in the state of Maine. But then the final one, which I feel like Miss Angela Garrity should be aware of, because this comes from her home state of Texas. We got HB 211, which would impose a 5 cents per milliliter tax on e-liquid containing nicotine. This bill has passed committee and moved to a vote by the full House. So it passed the House, and so now I think it's to the point to where I think the Senate has to go on to this one now. So where there's most likely going to be a nice kind of liquid tax coming in the state of Texas. So, Angela, I know you like, and when it comes to the mail ban, kind of puts you in a shitty situation to where you can't get your stuff through the mail anymore. So, trying to avoid that tax, and even with the new regulations when it comes to the PACT Act, that tax will now be involved on you purchasing online too. So, if there's a state tax, that state tax is now going to be involved with your online purchase. So, and plus 5 cents per... Yeah, I have a lot of angry feels about that. Do you know why they're pushing it? Angela, I'm guessing you have answers to that? You might have answers that I'm thinking?
Same reason they push all this bullshit.
Yeah, because it's Texas, to be honest. I'm not surprised. Let's see if we get an answer.
The states are bankrupt.
Well, while we wait for Angela, there's one thing that I want to get ready for that is going to become a new thing. Yes, give us, if you're able to type out that answer, Angela, or that'd be great. But worst comes to worst.
She just said yes.
Worst comes to worst. We will, if you have time to jump into Zoom after the show, we can let people know about it next week.
We should just get Angela on the show.
Yeah, we should.
I haven't had a face-to-face conversation with Angela since I had her on the Rise and Vape podcast.
Well, hold on,
which has been at least
this.
a year and a half, maybe more. Angela, I miss you.
Hold on, well, let's do something here. Hold, people, we might be able to get this figured out. Don't mind things popping up on the screen. Boo-ba-doo, do this. Hold, please, Angela. We might just get you on and have us talk about this, because...
I like how Corey hasn't even asked her whether or not she's available to do this. He's like, we're just going to get Angela on right now.
I know Angela enough by now to where she's sitting at her computer. She's ready to go.
She's probably got a cup of Death Wish coffee in front of her.
Message.
Which, by the way, Angela, I officially did have Death Wish coffee, and I just want you to know it is amazing.
We'll see here in a sec if she decides to join in. But before... And then she can be around for the next kind of segment we do, because I think she'd enjoy this one as well. So let's see if this actually... If we get her to sneak in. I sent you a Zoom link in Facebook Messenger, Angela, just if you haven't seen it already.
Just putting Angela right on the spot.
Well, I like putting her on the spot sometimes. It gives her kind of just... keeps her on her toes.
Oh, she doesn't write for them anymore.
Yeah, I believe some things happen with that, if I remember correctly. Up. Look at that. Boom.
Oh my goodness, it's been a hot minute since I've done this.
Angela Garrity,
What's
everybody!
Look at that.
up?
Let me move this out of the way.
How are you today?
I'm about to get kind of ragey.
Oh God, what am I doing?
Ooh, okay.
Oh Jesus.
No.
All right.
It's not you guys. It's this stupid Texas House bill. Okay, so I did some of my own digging, and you guys are gonna y'all are gonna be here with me in the angries for a minute.
Okay.
The reason that they're trying to push this bill in Texas is because they're saying that CHIPS, which is Health and Human Services for people that are on welfare, right? This is in Texas for the children. For the children. Let me say that again. You guys, CHIPS is funded through 2027 federally.
Mm-hmm.
This is bullshit.
So they're saying that this is for the funding for the thing for the kids that's already been funded.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because that makes
It's
sense,
just a
right?
massive pile of horse shit is what
Right.
it is. Okay.
So,
That's ridiculous.
once again, we're going to save the children off the backs of the vapors
Right. Save the children.
at
Fuck
vapors'
their parents.
expenses.
Yeah.
At vapors' expenses.
Right. At the expense of parents and grandparents and
Yep.
family and their support system and their livelihoods.
But they're
people
already
that take
funded.
care of them.
But they're already federally funded, so I
Right.
don't understand this at all.
I don't think you're meant to. I think
No.
you're meant to understand it exactly how you're understanding it. Yeah.
But, it's like you said earlier, nobody's going to question it. They're just going to be
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, okay, it's for the kids, right?
Yeah.
For the kids.
Yeah. Yeah, and oh, by the way, kids, the second you turn 18, no one cares about you anymore. Or now it's 21.
21.
No one cares about you after that. Why? Because organizations like Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, or really, honestly, I'm gonna go ahead and say it, any organization that is for the kids.
Right.
Why are you for the kids? Because every year there's more of them. You always have an army to put in front of you. You will always and forever have an army to march and bus into city councils because there's always kids. We're never going to actually save the kids. We're just going to keep saving the kids while we continue to get funding forever.
Right.
To save the kids that are just going to grow up and be okay.
Yep.
So, a thing we decide to end the shows with usually when it comes to how we started to do this, and I think Angela would get a kick out of this one too, because I think she's one of the people that always likes hearing these, but we decided to go on to Kasa at the end of every episode and read off a random testimonial, because I think that's a really cool thing to kind of lighten the people's spirits and just show that this works for everybody when it comes to showing other people's proof and showing other people's stories. It kind of is enlightening and just, it soothes the soul and heart, and what I think, at least. And it's just a great thing. So we're going to be talking about, what's this guy's name? I forgot his name already. Crap. Mr. Cal Ryan Pavis. Sorry if I said your name wrong if you ever watched this. Or no, Cal Ryn Pavis. Pavis? I don't know. But
Cal. We'll just call him Cal.
yeah, let's just call him Cal. So Cal has a really nice lengthy story for us to read off this evening, which I'm going to do right now. So I smoked cigarettes from the age of 16 to 19/20. I was a military member, and I am part of the LGBTQ plus community. I started smoking due to stress and anxiety and other mental health and life issues. And it, as well as vaping, has filed a habitual gap that could have easily been taken by other substances. I tried to use NRTs like patches and chewing gum over a year, and they just did not cut the manual and oral habit that I needed to fulfill to truly stop smoking cigarettes, as well as just not generally being an enjoyable or affordable set of products to use. My psychiatrist at the time, of all people, was the one who actually suggested vaping to me. I started transitioning to vaping around 19 back in mid-2015. I used some small pod systems and gradually settled on dual battery mod / open system tanking and pod mod area for my preferred devices. I completely transitioned from smoking to vaping in early 2016. It was less than 1 pack a day. I was less than 1 pack a day smoker, and my initial use of vaping was between 6 to 12 milligram e-liquids, completely comprised of fruit and food flavors, not menthol, mint, or tobacco, for clarification. 6 years later, I strictly use 3 milligram e-liquids when I even use nicotine e-liquids at all. A vast majority of my vaping use now is just for flavor enjoyment. And to fulfill the manual and oral habit, my personal quality of life has improved quite a bit. My doctor at this point cannot even find evidence that I was ever a smoker or used combustible products. My lungs are healthier than they were over 8 years ago. By comparison, I can breathe better, I can focus more, and most importantly, my mental health has improved. I've been able to reduce medications and worry less about health issues because of vaping. Specifically speaking, I have a particular case of depression that was mostly linked to cigarette use, as some of the chemicals in cigarette smoke were caused by imbalances and worsening some of my already existing mental health issues. In short, vaping has, I believe, saved and changed my life in many ways. I now manage a vape and glass chain and assist other smokers and vapors in improving their own quality of life and knowledge about harm reduction, among other things. Awesome.
Way to go,
Dang.
Cal.
Awesome.
Fantastic. And on behalf of CASA, Cal, thank you for your testimony. That is powerful. And congratulations on your improved health and quitting smoking. All of that is absolutely wonderful.
And now the one thing I think that's really cool about that, and now he actually he manages a vape shop practically, a vape shop chain that he can now share his experience with vaping onto the smokers he sees every single day.
Yeah.
And this could change. One service that changed his life can now change possibly hundreds of people's lives that he meets throughout, maybe thousands of people's lives that he meets throughout a year. And it just shows,
if the government will let him.
Yeah. Something like this just shows that one person telling them their story, one person showing their experiences when it comes to vaping, can change the lives of millions. When it comes to the people who still haven't found this product, or the people who are still sitting outside right now smoking their pack of cigarettes. So
You are the testimony.
yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Cal
and
is the
anybody
proof
who
that
hasn't
this
submitted
works.
a testimony to CASA, please do.
Mhm.
It's super easy, and it's just to share your story. We have over 13,000 of them, but it is still not enough.
Mhm.
We need everybody's story.
I would love to see it within
Everybody's
like the
story,
millions.
You know, it all adds up. The plural of anecdote is data, my friends. And really quick, I do want to address one thing from chat. Drip Vibe, I know Angela kind of addressed this. Drip Vibe Vapor said, wasn't there already a 10 cents per mil tax in Texas? Angela said, this is another one, eye roll emoji. For anybody wondering, if you don't know your current taxes and laws and regulations in your state, that information is also available on CASA, on your state page. So head on over there if you're curious about what taxes are in your state, things like that. All of that information is readily available to you over on CASA.org.
Oh, 100%. 100%. So this is just, Cal, good on you, and keep on doing the good work over at your vape shop you're doing. Really, really proud to see that. And it's just something that kind of empowers me to keep on doing what I do. I know I can probably speak the same for Logan when it comes. It's just, this product doesn't even...
not smoked is a victory.
That's
This product, this industry itself, has helped more than just getting off of smoking. Like how Cal just said, it improved his mental health. He's gotten a more positive outlook on pretty much, I would say, life when it comes to dealing with his depression, which is great.
Yeah.
So that's
it really is, at least for me, I deal with depression and some mental health issues as well. I don't necessarily know if vaping improved my mental health or if it was just me improving my physical health that in turn improved my mental health. I think that's how it worked for me. Once I quit smoking, I was able to be a lot more active. I was able to spend more time outside. I was able to do a lot of things for my physical health. And it's kind of one of those you get out of it what you put into it kind of situations. And so like me getting more physically healthy in turn helped, the skull muscle as well. So
yeah, that's
regardless, maybe switching absolutely does have an effect on that.
So yeah, if you want to share your testimonial so for us to share on the show, you could either send it over to either Logan and I on Instagram, or send it over to comment down in the comments below with your story, and I'll make sure we can look at them and maybe possibly read one on the next show we do. But yeah, I would love to see other people's, just type out your vaping story like how Logan does it. Have his on hand so he can share wherever he is practically. I
have a document right on my desktop, which is my story. So every time there's a call to action or something where I can do to involve my story or a place to share it, I've got it readily available. I don't have to type it up every time. I used to type up my story every time I would do a call to action, or I would go on New York Gov and I would submit a testimony or vote no on something. I would type it up every single time. And then finally, after 40 times, I was like, enough is enough. I'm just going to make a Word doc. I'm going to type it up and I'll have it ready. And that's what I do. And it does make it a lot easier if you're kind of constantly doing this. Definitely save yourself a little hassle and just type it up once.
100%.
Copy and paste is a beautiful thing.
So guys, that is what we have for you guys this evening. So thank you, Angela, for coming on and kind of giving us information about what was going on with Texas. Thank you, everybody in chat, for hanging out. Make sure you guys are taking part of the call to actions CASA puts up. They put a lot of work into making sure this information is available to all of you. So make sure to do your due diligence to share it around. Let others know around you that this is going on, so you can keep people informed, as long as we're out here trying to do our best to keep people informed as well. Thank you, Attitude, for coming in. I know you were a little late. I'm not going to give you a strike this time, but next time your gold star is about to be taken down, my friend. So that's your warning this time, Addy. But next time there's going to be a firm, swift kick in the ass, if you know what I mean.
As always, though, Addy Tooney, thank you for all that you do.
Yeah, chat, 100%. Addy, you are awesome, my friend.
You're just a fantastic human being, and I appreciate you.
I know I saw Addy post the link to the YouTube channel, but Logan, I'll give you the opportunity to talk about the little podcast you do with Mr. Alex.
Cool. Is it plug time?
Yeah,
Are we doing plugs now?
Plug
it. So yeah, every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 p.m. West Coast time. Everything in the middle you got to figure out. I'm bad at time zones. You're on your own. But 4:30 East Coast time on Saturday. Alex, me, and Kristen are live on both the main CASA Facebook page and on CASA's YouTube channel. That's my CASA on YouTube.
Is Kristen going to be joining you guys full time now?
From my understanding, as of right now, Kristen is joining us on the show full time.
Awesome.
I don't know, future things may change, but as it stands right now, Kristen is on the show with me and Alex, and she's also simultaneously running all of the things in the background because she's just fantastic like that. And it is nice to have a third person kind of bouncing things off of the show. Makes for really great discussions. But yeah, that is live every Saturday on those channels, and then as well over on the CASA SoundCloud every Monday morning. I edit down, I pull the audio from that live stream and I edit it down into a quick kind of condensed need-to-know legislative rundown for people. So if you have a morning commute, 20-30 minutes in the morning, and you need to know what's going on right now legislatively, every Monday morning that will be available for you to tune into. Links are all over the place. So yeah, check that out. And then the only other thing for me, plug-wise, that I do anymore is a little show that I call The Come Down on Instagram every Sunday night at 8 p.m. If you're looking for a place to come and hang out and not deal with crazy, bad, terrible drug policy and tobacco policy, and you just want to hang out while I fiddle my way around trying to wick an RDA and drink a beer, come join me over on Instagram.
Well, awesome.
That's what I've got.
Awesome. Before we get out of here, I always wanted to I never do really self-promotion stuff on my channel because we're on it right now. But remember, guys, if you guys are craft beer fans, I do live beer reviews every single day practically. I think I checked the playlist. There's over 101 different reviews up now. So if you're ever interested to kind of see what a beer fanatic like myself kind of breaks down beers and what I'm drinking on, and like how I kind of go around and break it down, what I'm tasting at least, check me out. It's usually on weekdays they're at 4 p.m. Central, but on Wednesdays like this they're usually at 3 p.m. or on weekends they're usually at 3 p.m. as well. So you just gotta make sure you have that notification bell on my channel to make sure if YouTube does their due diligence, and make sure they let you know when I'm going live. You'll be able to know then, or just kind of memorize those times and you'll be able to tune in for those. Or other than that, you can always tune into the bi-weekly episodes we have here over on here when it comes to news and advocacy with me and Logan. Every other Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central, sharp. Every other Wednesday. Or
Sharp.
Well, today it wasn't sharp. It was more like a dull kind of like situation to where I need to go sharpen my pencil, sharpen kind of situation where it's like, oh crap, the tip broke. But
it was still kind of sharp. It was
Yeah.
like sharp, but it's been written with.
no, it was a situation where it was sharp. You went to right and then broke.
Yeah, that's the worst.
But then Addie Tooney threw down in chat. Make sure to check out since she's here, ardentlyangela.com, her blog.
Yep. Blog. You guys can go see all like the funsy blogs that I've written in the past for Vape News, for Deathwish Coffee, for a wax company. Just, doing lifestyle things, really.
Yeah.
So
That is awesome. I was like,
I was just gonna ask, like, what are you up to these days?
Well, I'm just here. I'm here, and
Are you living that sweet pandemic life?
no, Texas is open.
Oh, that's good.
Texas is open. We've
That's
been
good.
open for a hot minute, but
Yeah,
just doing writer things, man.
yeah. Doing
Love
what
it.
you
That's
do
my
best.
comfy place.
Yeah.
So, want to laugh, want to stir some emotion? Come check it out. You never know what the hell I'm gonna write about.
yeah, that's awesome.
Today, cruise,
Like
hair rock cruise, like metal cruise,
Ooh.
not like hair metal glam cruise.
I'm digging it. I'm feeling it. I'm gonna have to go check it out.
Yep. So guys,
Awesome stuff.
thank you everybody in chat for hanging out, and you guys are awesome. I think we did all the plugging that we need to do. So Logan, I think you should do the thing since you say it in all your stuff. I think you should end it. How you usually end things.
Thank you guys for joining us. Stay safe. Stay cloudy. Be excellent to each other. And we'll see you guys next time.
See ya. Put you on the spot there, and I don't even care.